All right, welcome back to For-iN-SIght podcast. I'm your host, Mike Obi. On a special Olympic edition, it's not too often you get the chance to speak with an Olympic gold medalist. But not only is he that, is a guy known through high school, I've known for quite a while, former teammate of mine, and we'll be able to just get a gauge for his experience. Without further ado, Bryce Deadmon. What's going on, man?
What's up, Obi?
Man, nothing much, man. Can't complain. How are you?
I'm good. I'm real good. How your week been so far?
Man, no, not bad. Just another day, another chance to have conversation and bring content to people, and just keep on living life and keep on pushing forward. How about yourself? What's going on with you?
Feel that. I feel that. Shoot, the same thing. Just trying to make the best of myself each and every day. Trying to make sure I'm striving toward my goals every day, and trying to make sure I'm doing everything to reach them. So,
Yeah, amen to that. Let's get started, bro. So let's do what we always do and just start off with upbringing. So Houston roots. Before you became the person you are today, which is an Olympic gold medalist, you had a path to get there. So just talk about what it was like growing up in Houston and sort of just your formal years and what that was like.
growing up in Houston, shoot, growing up is shoot. How can I explain it? I feel like I was all over the south side of Houston growing up. I grew up for the first 13 years of my life. Well, no, I grew up for the first 4 to 5 years of my life in the Southwest Houston area, moved to Richmond,
Mm.
lived out there for about 10 years, and then moved to Missouri City in 2011 and been out there ever since. I jumped from school to school I feel like, well, not even feel like every 3 to 4 years I was moving schools. I was real involved in sports growing up, so I played sports, like I said, across the Houston area. So growing up in Houston, I just was exposed to a lot of people, exposed to a lot of areas, different cultures, all that. So yeah, the South Side of Houston is very familiar to me. Um, and thankfully, even though I hated changing schools and moving around a lot, I met a lot of people along the way. So
Mm.
that was kind of my experience growing up.
Yeah. So, what was it? I know you said you didn't really like moving schools, but what was it like, or what did you really take away from having to maneuver and adapt to different surroundings and different locations?
Well, I hated it mainly because every time I would transfer schools, everyone would always have like their little clique or group of people they ran with. I mean, because these people have been growing up and going to school with each other since elementary school. So I was always a person trying to fit in or understand how people moved. And I really hated it because I never had a solid friend group until I got to my last school, Ridgepoint, from which I graduated from. But yeah,
Mm.
I really hated it. But it did teach me a lot. It taught me, like I said, how to maneuver in different environments, how to especially meet new people and kind of put myself out there and stop being in a shell. Um, I always felt like if you stayed within the same friend group for a long period of time, it was always kind of harder to try to branch out and meet new people. But I mean, shoot, I was moving all the time, so I had to by default. So I guess that was an advantage of that. And like I said, meeting a lot of people and knowing a lot of people around the South Houston area.
No, no, I can definitely feel that. I moved once, and I can remember how much I hated that just doing it one time. So for you who moved numerous times, I can only imagine, the
Yeah,
frustration.
I definitely was a person at the beginning of the school year eating lunch by himself on numerous on numerous occasions.
Not lunch by yourself, bro. Yeah, it
Yeah.
sucks because it's like you're the newbie, and like it's almost like why get invested, especially once you do it like more than once. It's kind of like, okay, I'm gonna move here just for this to possibly happen again. So you don't want to get comfortable. You don't want to start to get an attachment only to have that be ripped away from you. So I definitely can understand how that can be. Especially like you're a young man trying to grow up and trying to kind of figure out yourself. And then it's like every time you think you got something going, you think you've been able to develop a friend group, you've been able to develop a groove, you're always having to move and change and, find yourself in a new environment. So it can definitely be frustrating. So what were some of the schools? I know you said you went to Ridgepoint. Obviously, that was the last school you went to, at least as far as high school. What other schools were you going to, or what other schools did you attend?
So I initially attended private school up until third grade.
Mm-hmm.
I went to an elementary school in Richmond when we lived out there. I went there from fourth. grade until middle school. Middle school, I went to the middle school I was zoned to. So the people I went to, the public elementary school I went to school with them from fourth to seventh grade. Then my neighborhood got rezoned, and I went to Lamar Consolidated High School.
Mhm.
And I was there only for my eighth grade year. And after that year, we moved to Missouri City. And I ended up at Elkins for my first 2 years. And I hated Elkins. I hated Elkins so much, and I ended up at Ridge Point. So that's how that goes. What is that? That's four different schools. Okay.
Yep. four
Yeah,
4 years, four
instead of
different
staying
schools,
within
man.
one. Yeah, exactly. Most
Damn.
people stay in the same school pipeline from K through 12. I
Yeah.
changed schools 4 to 5 times. So
Man, that I couldn't do that. So let's talk about the different surroundings. Then I mean, obviously, it's all the southwest side of Houston, like you talked about. But were any particular place, like was one particular place different from the other, or was it mostly the same kind of surroundings? It was just different people. And did
no,
you have?
no. Every school I went to was significantly different by far. And I
Mm,
definitely think that's another thing that kind of helped me to understand different people and how they move and adapt to my surroundings. The first elementary school I went to, like I said, was a private school. So of course it was majority white.
hmm
The first public elementary school I went to was majority white as well. That was fourth grade through seventh grade. So yeah, that was majority white. Then the school I went to in eighth grade was predominantly Hispanic.
hmm
um, Elkins was definitely predominantly black, and then Ridgepoint I feel like was a mix of everything. Honestly, it was. I mean, of course, it was predominantly white, but there was definitely a good mix of other people and other ethnicities in that school.
No, I feel that. Like, so for me, it was like I my surroundings changed based off of the events that kind of happened like in life. So like when I was growing up, I was in a small town, I was down in Pearland, and it was predominantly white. When I say that, I mean I was either one of one black person in my class usually, or maybe at the most two. And that was the case until third grade. At the time I was in third grade, Hurricane Katrina had hit. So then we had a lot of people move down, and that's where it sort of diversified as far as being surrounded by more African American kids, Creole, Hispanic, even a little bit more. And then, another part of that was them opening the highway to Houston, right? Opening the highway to downtown. So that's where, more different types of black people, because it was different cultures. And then it was more Hispanic people being implemented into our schools. They were moving down because, urbanization and things of that nature. And then
Mm.
moving down to Ridgepoint, like you said, diversity but cliquish. It was kind of shocking and weird because it was different worldviews. I've talked about that before. And so just having to
Mm.
adapt to all the different types of people, all different cultures. Yeah, the surroundings look the same, but the people are different. So having to understand where people are coming from, I can definitely attest to having to kind of adapt to, just the different type of people you're around. It can be challenging but interesting at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So aside from moving around and navigating life, you get into track and field and you started that journey. So when did that start for you, and what kind of got you into running?
Um, Shoot, I started track and field the first year I started just little league sports in general. The
Mm,
same year I started little league basketball and football, I started track, and I started that when I was 8 years old.
mm,
And it was definitely something that I was excelling at very much so, and my parents kept me in it.
mm,
And I also think another thing that kept me into it was the track and field team I joined was like almost like a family. I talked to a lot of those people who I ran with even to this day and keep up with them. A
mm.
lot of my coaches who coached me when I was 8, 9 years old still reach out to me to this day. So that was definitely a big influencing factor on what kept me running track and definitely would help me excel in it as well.
Nah, I can feel that. Youth sports, I think, has a very underrated role in a kid's development. Just being able to build that community and that sense of belonging, that you can get from a team sport, and just having
Mhm.
people who look out for you outside of your parents, because your parents, especially if they work like mine did, they're really not always able to be there for you. So having that community, that sort of village, as like people in my culture call it, like having a village to raise a child or raise a person, is very necessary and very vital, where you have other people who kind of look out for you, love you, have your best interests at heart, and who can kind of push you to be better. So I can get that.
Exactly, yeah.
So aside from track and running, you get into football. I know we played football. That's how I met you in high school. How did football become a factor, and when did you start playing that?
Like I said, I started playing football when I was 8 and just played it all throughout elementary, middle school, and high school. And that was definitely another love of mine. Track
Mm.
was definitely the better of the two though. For sure. But yeah, no, I met a lot of good people when I was playing football as well. Two of my best friends, Remus and Deontay, I
Mm.
met them through football. So yeah, no, football definitely played a integral part in my upbringing as well.
Oh yeah, man. Remo and Deontay definitely two Falcons.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, y'all. I remember y'all were a little inseparable group, but yeah, all of y'all definitely brought great energy to the team. I love being around y'all guys. Y'all made the team light. You know what I'm saying? Just with y'all's, y'all's jokes, y'all's antics, and just y'all's
Yeah.
competitiveness too. So, I think talk about just sort of your Ridgepoint experience a little bit and just how when you got there, how things were different. Cause we had a team that was real successful. Like you said, you had some of your, your guys that you met and also being able to run track and you guys went to state in that realm too. So talk about what that experience was like.
I loved Ridgepoint, honestly. Ridgepoint was probably the most community-based school I had ever been to out of all the schools I went to by far.
Mm.
And I don't think a lot of people who went to Ridgepoint realize that because they were in, like I said, in the same school pipeline from K through 12. But yeah,
Hmm.
Miss Tammy did a real good job of making like a community feel within Ridgepoint the years that I was there. Like I feel like the majority of our class that graduated in 15 all knew each other.
Hmm.
We were real tight knit. The school felt like a community, like I said. I love Ridgepoint, honestly. The school spirit, everyone participated in the school events. Like it wasn't just like people were acting too cool to be involved in school or anything like that. No, I love Ridgepoint a lot.
Yeah, I can definitely attest to that. And I think it was something that had to be developed too. Like me, who was a guy who was there for all 4 years of high school and was a newcomer. So I really was able to see sort of the transition and how it was in the beginning. It wasn't
Mhm.
always like that. I remember talking to Coach Kovo, even talking to Miss Edwards, talking to Mr. Gaines, like all the principals and some of the teachers even, and they were telling me like there's a process that we had to go through in order to like make people buy in because there was a new school on the block. We were there
Yeah.
and you got people kind of coming in and being poured in from different areas, different schools. They had like people were looking up to Hightower, looking up to Elkins, looking up to Clemens even or some other parts of the town. So to really sort of build that identity was something that I think why our class was so liked because we really were the first ones to sort of embrace it and like, no, let's make this something where we buy in
That's
and we
very
actually
true.
we liked and we loved and we kind of we took pride in building a name for ourselves. And I think even you look at a lot of us who went on after high school and we're all adults now, we still have that same pride in ourselves and we were able to take that same professionalism into most of our professions when I look at us.
Definitely see that. I definitely see that. I'm surprised. Well, I can understand how it wasn't like that the first couple of years. I mean, because with the first class, of course, they're not going to catch on because I mean, this the
Yeah.
first 2 years that the school has been open. So I definitely can kind of see how it took a long time to cultivate that, but I'm definitely glad it was cultivated for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I think when I had Coach Kovo on last year, he was talking to me about how, I mean, you have to understand like these are kids who probably went to like other places and really weren't bought into the message, right? Because they didn't know it. Like, yeah, they were brought up in the 4 bin system, but they had different perceptions, right? And so
Because it was
now,
open enrollment.
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah,
that
yeah,
that
yeah,
was a
yeah,
big
yeah,
factor.
yeah.
And so just it was interesting just being able to watch it from afar and be a part of the change. So definitely that was a great experience for both of us, it seems. So after high school, then you decided to go to Texas A&M. You played you run track there. Now, first off, why A&M? How did that become the college you chose?
Man, I wasn't even thinking about A&M. That's actually the crazy part. Like they offered me, but I never even thought to go to Texas A&M like in any sense of of the matter at all. I had three offers coming out of high school in track and air from U of H, Iowa, and A&M.
Mm.
Um, and I was really about to go to Iowa, which is actually crazy because that probably would have changed the whole outcome of my life,
Right.
which is actually
Yeah.
insane. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm very glad I went to A&M, but yeah, like I said, I wasn't even I didn't even know they had offered me until the coach had called my mom like what was this like a couple months before signing day. And I
Mm,
was like, oh, wow, I didn't even know y'all were trying to reach out to me. So I remember I took a visit
mm,
and I was like, oh, this is cool. I definitely had more fun on my other two visits as opposed to this one.
mm,
And when I was making that my decision on signing day, it was just like, I knew I didn't want to go to U of H, not because they didn't have a good program, but just out of the simple fact it was just way too close to home. And
mm.
they didn't really have a 400 program how I wanted them to, but mostly because of the fact it was just so close to home. I was like, nah, I got, I got to get away. I really wanted to leave the state of Texas, if I'm being honest with you.
Mm.
And that left A&M in Iowa.
Right.
And like I said, like I was really, really, really considering Iowa. The only thing that kind of bothered me with that was like it was literally in the middle of nowhere. I think they told me the closest city was Chicago and St. Louis, and both of those were 4 hours away. I was like, nah, bro.
Nah, that's not gonna
I
work.
was like, nah. I was like, bro, I'm definitely a city where I can't just be in the middle of nowhere for the next 4 years of my life by any means. So that left A&M, and the rest is history. And that was definitely one of the best decisions I ever made in my life.
Now, I always like hearing these type of stories of how you come to making your decision because I mean, it's big. You know, it's just a real vital step into your development as a man. Like in terms of, okay, I'm gonna spend 4 years here. I'm gonna commit my future as far as sports is concerned. Because a lot of guys make that choice and they pick the wrong place, and then they have to transfer. They got to deal with that. So it's good to hear that the choice you made ended up paying off for you. So you run at Texas A&M. Talk about that experience and just what you were able to take away being there for those years that you were there.
So I always tell people I really didn't even start running for A&M until I would say like my junior year. My first 2 years, I was like hurt. I didn't even touch the track my whole freshman year. Sophomore year, I was out half the season and I did absolutely terrible.
Mm,
Junior year was the first year where I actually ran for a full season
mm,
and I did fairly well, but I was like, shoot, I graduate next year. Like I legit only had 2 years to run. So I came back my senior year. I did actually really well. I qualified for the national championship meet in the open 400 was the first time I had did that. And I had an extra year because I had, like I said, set out my freshman year. So I was like, let me take this fifth year and see what can happen.
mm,
That fifth year came around and unfortunately that was COVID. So I was like, shoot, I guess I was like, I see the writing on the wall, bro. Like it's just time for me to wrap it up.
mm,
I didn't already graduate. I'm just gonna get a job and going about my life and get my master's degree and so what and so
mm.
forth. Um, and I remember my coach calling me. He was like, "Oh yeah, we just got word that all the people who lost this year to COVID can come back next year. And if you come back next year, I'll pay for your entire master's degree." I was like, "Oh, you ain't got to." I
Yeah,
was
say
like, "Hey, you
less,
ain't got to say
say
nothing
less.
else." Like, yeah, even if track don't go well, like I'm getting my whole master's degree paid for. Like that's not even a question. I'm finna be back. So
Mm.
I came back and had the best season of my life and made the Olympic team and now here I am a professional Nike track athlete, which is actually insane. So
Sheesh.
yeah, yeah, I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. Because had I not got hurt my freshman year and had COVID not happened, I would not be in this position at all, not even close.
Now, most definitely, it worked out for the best, and that was great to hear that your coach was willing to pay for your master's program because you never hear those type of stories happen. So that was great, and that was
Oh
generous
yeah,
on
no,
you.
if he didn't, I was gonna leave. So like, I mean, it wasn't even like if you want me to stay here now, you definitely gonna have to pay for this mask because I was for sure finna bounce.
Yeah, for sure. But then, luckily he did it, and it all worked out. So one other thing you did in college was that I see that you pledged. So you
Mhm.
joined Greek life. Talk about that decision. Who'd you pledge to, and how did that become a factor?
So the main influencing factor in me even understanding and being involved in Greek life or wanting to be involved in Greek life was my mom. My mom is a Delta,
Hmm.
um, and just being around all her line sisters growing up. Shoot, her and her line sisters are actually very close. One of her line sisters is actually my godmother.
Hmm.
Like I said, her line sisters being real close to us. Their kids always coming around us and us hanging out. So I was very exposed to it growing up. So as soon as I got to college, I was like, if I don't do anything, I definitely want to become a part of the Greek D9, one of the Greek D9 organizations. And it's in specific Omega Psi Phi because that's DST's Delta Sigma Theta's brother fraternity. So I
Mm.
was like, yeah, this is something that is almost non-negotiable. Like I'm going to do this. I don't even care if it put my track career at risk for doing this. I'm like, I'm going forward with this. And that's another great decision I'm glad I made. The opportunities, the friends, just everything, the support that it's opened me up to is unfathomable, honestly.
Nah, yeah, that's great to hear. I had thought about pledging, but first of all, I didn't know which frat to join, because I mean,
Mhm.
I was second generation. My parents really never were into Greek life. They didn't understand what that was. And me
Mhm.
looking into it, it was like, it's good, but then it was like, do I want to be hazed and all that other stuff? But definitely, I always have advocated, looking back at it now, definitely if you can join a sort of support organization while you're in college and get those connections, you need to do so, because that's the thing I took away from college and took away from my education, is that who you know is just as important as what you know. And
If
um,
not more, shoot. Honestly, if I'm being completely real with you, it's almost hard to get a job in the job field today if you don't know the right people. Yeah, going on LinkedIn and applying for jobs is and
sucks.
getting a job like that is actually not almost
Nah,
not even realistic. Yeah, I applied for so many jobs before all of this popped off the way it did, and I literally got well over 60 rejection emails by far.
I don't even want to go there today because
Yeah.
God dang, yeah, that is not it, bro. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
but that's the thing. That's the perception, is that we always think, okay, you get a degree, you get a job. Nah, man, you gotta go, you get a degree, you get a chance to maybe get a job, and then you
You gotta
gotta
work
go.
some connections, bro.
Yeah, man, for sure. So for anybody out there, if you can join a frat, a sorority, and you can get your connections up that way, or if you can join some type of organization, definitely, I would say, you're hearing it from two of us that have been through it. Definitely do so.
For sure.
So after college, after get your master's, now Tokyo 2021, you become an Olympian. So talk about how that became possible and what that was like building towards joining the Olympic team.
So of course it was always a goal of mine. It was always a goal of mine. And I was just like, shoot, I mean, everyone has goals. I've had goals and sometimes they didn't come into fruition. So I remember at the beginning of 2021, this was the last semester of my master's program. The last semester I was at A&M last year. My mom came to my apartment and hung out with me for a couple of days in College Station,
Mm-hmm.
and we made a vision board.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not for sure if you know what a vision board is, just kind of like writing your goals down for the year and actually writing them out and putting them on the wall somewhere so you can look at it every day to kind of keep you on track.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I remember that was the number one goal I had for myself on my vision board. And I was like, of course, this has always been a goal for me, but like, who knows if this will actually even happen? Um, so I wrote it. I put it on my vision board. I put it on my wall and looked at it here and there. And like I said, it was always a goal for me. Like I was striving toward it every day. It was just a question of if it was actually going to come into fruition.
Mm-hmm.
So the season started. I was running really well for the first half of the season. Um, and yeah, I was running really well, but there was a couple of people, like three or four people who were faster than me and who were kind of just like dragging me for the first half of the year. And like, okay, it'll eventually change the second half of the year. Second half of the year came around, and I just started dropping like bombs every time I touched the track. Like every time I touched the track, I literally ran a personal record. Literally every time I stepped on the track, which was insane. That was the first time that had ever happened in my life, and I was like, okay, like this is a real possibility, especially because of the fact that the times I were dropping like were top five in the world on a consistent basis, not just for 1 week or 2 weeks, like throughout the course of the year. And I was like, okay, this is like actually this could actually happen
Mm-hmm.
happen for real.
Right.
So I got second place in the 400 in outdoor nationals for track that year, and the Olympic trials were the next week. And I remember they were like the top six people in every open event makes it to the Olympic Games, and I was like, okay, I can do that. I'm number five in the world right now, and that's just in America. Like of course I'm gonna make this. Like I was extremely confident going into that race. And going into the finals race, I was running and I got seventh. And I remember when my name popped up on the board, I was like, damn, they only take the top six. Like,
Right.
shoot.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like, it is what it is, bro. Like I
Yeah.
like it. I have absolutely no regrets with my track career. I was like, and I always tell myself, I was like, if I don't get offered enough money to live comfortably how I want to
Mhm.
with track, like I'm not doing it. So I saw seven pop on the board, and I was like, you know what, bro, it is what it is. Like I said, I'm definitely upset and sad, but like I don't have any regrets.
Facts.
So I was walking off the track and went to the little area to get my shoes and my warm ups to put that on.
Mhm.
And this lady walked up to me and she was like, "Congratulations, you just punched a ticket to the Olympic Games." I was like, "The Olympics? Wait, yeah, I thought it was top six."
Right.
And she was like, "Well, this year we changed it to the top eight because we're adding a new event to the Olympics. So you made it this year." And I was just like, "What? That is so crazy! Like that is so wild that that happened." And I like think about that all the time. Like out of all the years they could have did that, they chose this year to do it.
Hey.
When I got seventh place and the cutoff was usually six. So I was just like, shit, bro, this is crazy. Got to the games and I was only supposed to run one event. And in the prelims at that, ran that, and I was like, okay, I'm just kicking it until I leave Tokyo.
Mm.
But I ran the fastest split on that relay, and they put me on the 4x400 meter prelim. So I was like, oh
Mm.
shoot, I wasn't even expecting to run this, but shoot, I'm in a position, so I guess that means I'm supposed to be here. So let's do that. So ran that. Ran the fastest split in prelims, and they were like, okay. They literally texted me, I think at like 12 o'clock that night, the night before the final relay, and they were like, "Hey, we're putting you on this finals team." And I was like, "Oh shit!" Like I was supposed to come here for one event. Like I was supposed to be chilling, and like have my
Right.
feet kicked up, and now I'm on the finals team. Like this is crazy. So
Yeah.
they put me on the finals team, and we got a gold medal. And I was like, "Shit, bro, this is actually crazy because just off the simple fact that I wasn't even supposed to make it to the Olympics from the jump, and
Right.
like I'm on the Olympic finals gold medal relay team. Like that is insane. But yeah, no, it's that was definitely a crazy experience. I just kept believing in myself and just had to keep telling myself like everything will come together how you want it to come together.
Yeah, man.
It
It's like
did.
it's like you said, everything happened for a reason, man. And look at fate. You know what I'm saying? You
Very
just
true.
just buy in and keep on doing what you do. You keep on working, and eventually it'll all work itself out. You know, as long as you put yourself in a
Exactly.
position. So it's great to hear just that story, man. So outside of running, what was just being at the Olympics, being in Tokyo, Japan, like, and just what did you take away from that experience?
Man, honestly, the whole Olympic experience wasn't anything like you would expect it to be, if I'm being
Mm.
completely honest with you, bro. They had Tokyo on lockdown because of COVID, bro.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
The only
yeah,
so we in
yeah.
Olympic Village, and
Dang.
I'm not even gonna lie to you, like it really felt like we was in like we were in jail, bro. Like we would leave from practice, come back and literally sit in our dorm room for like the rest of the day. And I was like, bro, this is like actually terrible. Like I was expecting to be able to go out in the city and like explore.
Right.
I thought my family was gonna be able to be out there. I thought I was gonna be hanging out with my family and friends. Like, nah, bro, it wasn't anything like you would think it would be. Like, and my roommate went to the Olympics in Rio in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Devin Allen. He graduated from Oregon in I think 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yeah, bro, like 2016 was like actually insane compared to what this is. He was like, this is like actually trash. So yeah, no, I mean, of course, just being at the Olympics was an experience in itself. Like, wow, like I'm actually at the biggest event in the world, like in the entire world right now. But at the same time, I definitely was kind of hoping I could have got a different experience. But it is what it is. I'm still very blessed to even have been there in general. So
It's all good. You'll be at the next Olympics running
no, for
independent.
sure, for
You feel
sure,
me?
for
So, all
sure.
right. So after that Tokyo, I forgot, man. I forgot that COVID was a factor and they had Tokyo on lock. So yeah, dang.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely cool being in the Olympic Village and just seeing and talking to people from different countries and exchanging pins with them or seeing like how they moved about in their little communities. That was definitely cool, but
Mm.
that was the only experience we got.
Shoot, it's all good. I mean, like I said, you'll be back to defend your crown in another country in another Olympics, and hopefully,
Definitely, bro.
this won't be your first goal. But just looking to the future, you come back, and now, present day, I kind of chopped it up with you. You're still training, but what else are you looking to do with now that you're a Nike athlete? Now that you are, you got your first gold medal under your belt. What are you looking to do, in the near future and going forward? What's that going to be looking like?
So track wise, I definitely want to break that 400-meter world record. That's for sure. I definitely want to win a gold medal in the in the 2024 Olympics in the open 400. And we also have two world championships coming up. The one this year is in Oregon in July, and the one in 2023 is in Budapest, Hungary. And I definitely want to do well at those two. I mean, of course, I want to come back home with a gold medal in both of those. Honestly, just be the best athlete that I can be. Just get the most out of myself. And once this is all said and done, I know for a fact that I didn't leave anything out there, didn't have any regrets when it comes to taking risk in the sport or doing things a certain type of way. Yeah, bro, just getting the most out of myself and definitely coming home with some medals. That's always a goal. That's always a goal.
Sure. Well, man, we've had a great episode, great conversation. We're going to just finish off with a couple of quick hitters. So first thing that comes to mind, give me an answer. As far as sports is concerned, give me your top 5 favorite teammates you've had.
Favorite teammates?
Yeah.
Damn, that's hard. Okay. Top 5 teammates. Okay, when I think of teammates, I think of just overall good people who bring the actual team together. I could care less about performance if I don't really respect you and respect how you move with other people and bring people together. So I would say Jamarcus for sure. What's Jamarcus's last name? Jamarcus. Who was
Johnson.
Jamarcus Johnson for sure. He was definitely a good teammate.
Yeah, for sure. Solid dude, man. Solid Jamarcus.
Who else? I would say Remus was a good teammate. Remus, like you said, just lightened the mood all the time. It kind of just had everyone in good spirits. Him.
For sure.
Who else can I think of? That was a good teammate? Shoot. Damn, bro, this is a hard question, bro.
If you can't give me 5, give me 3. And
hold on. I can think of 5. It's gonna take me a little minute. I would say another good teammate I had was. Oh shoot, yeah, no, bro. I'm gonna have to give you 3.
Go ahead,
I'm thinking back years. Shoot, another good teammate I had that was just an overall good leader. Ooh, bro.
Shoot, D Ford, Deontay. You mentioned him earlier. That was always a dude who took care of business in the classroom. Great athlete.
That is very true. Yeah, Deontay for sure.
At Burners, boy, I'm telling you, I'm sure he could have excelled at track if he had just stuck with that as well. I knew he was fast as a mug, boy.
You said who?
Deontay.
Yeah, no. He did still track. Deontay was actually on the state team with me for the 4x4 our senior year.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, y'all.
Yeah.
All right, second one. If you could be at any Olympic moment and watch it in real time, what would it be?
At any Olympic moment and watch it in real time, shoot. I'll probably say anytime Carl Lewis touched the track. Anytime Carl Lewis touched the track, that in the 1992 and the 2012 NBA, well, I wouldn't say NBA, but the Olympic basketball teams during those 2 years for sure, by far.
Yeah, for sure. All right. If you could race against any 3 Olympic athletes of all time, who would they be?
I don't know. If I'm being real with you, I run track and field, but I'm really a casual watcher. Like I really don't have a favorite track and field athlete that I watch or that I looked up to. I don't know. That's actually a good question.
Okay. So then we'll just finish it off with what I ask every guest then. If you could drop your final gem to any person who's a runner, any person who's in a profession and looking to make their mark, what would you give them? What would you tell them?
Make their mark. Shoot. I would say believe in yourself at all costs. Of course, we all have our ups and downs. There's times where all of us doubt ourselves at a certain point. We doubt our mission, we doubt our goals, we doubt if something's actually going to happen that we want to happen, but you just got to keep believing in yourself at all costs. Like the negative thoughts are going to come through like automatically. Like that's not even a question. You just You just got to combat every negative thought with with two to three positive ones as to why you can do something as opposed to why you can't do something. I try to check myself with that all the time. Shoot, even now with my training, like the training that I'm going through right now for track is something I have never experienced in my life, bro. Like this is probably one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, just far as training wise. And there's definitely been times where I came home and I was just like, bro, like, can I even do this? Like, am I even good? And I just have to catch myself. And I'm just like, bro, like everyone goes through a transition period. Like every great person has took an L or had a failure. Like, of course, you never see that on the main stage, but every person has taken a L, and there's always something to be learned from it, bro. Just keep pushing. Everything's gonna work itself out exactly how it's supposed to if you stay positive, stay on your mission, and believe that you can do it. Like that, and just take. You got to take risk. Like you got to take risk. You got to take a lot of risk in life. I also say that, and that can be just with anything you're afraid of, anything that's kind of a mental block for you. You just got to take risk in life. You will not go anywhere in life if you're not taking some type of risk. You'll literally be stuck in the same place forever.
No, I feel that, bro. That's definitely facts, and I agree 100%. That's a wrap for For-iN-SIght Podcast. Want to thank guest Bryce Deadmon for coming on and blessing us with his time. Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, bro. No, appreciate you for sure.
All right. You can catch this episode on all your listening platforms as well as YouTube and the Anchor.fm platform. Much love.